YouTube podcast world. What's up, family? You already know the name, man. Pays and Plays podcast here. Going to be giving y'all week 7 of the NFL. You already know, man. Make sure you like, pass the word around, sub to the channel. Slowly elevating. Last week we went 2-on-2 as far as my YouTube short, but I did take the Chargers, so I went 3-2. So overall, we're at 18, 9-3 best bets. Still over 50 some percent, still like 6% last time I checked. I did a calculation, so we're still doing good. Let's talk about the little brief recap. Colts, I took it at -1 earlier that year, and I said, so what that week? And Joe Flacco pulled a rabbit out of his eyes, bro. That guy. Um, Jaguars just didn't show up. That's just how we're gonna look at that one. Jets, Mike Williams, but back-to-back bad routes that cause interceptions, bro. We'll talk about the Jets after the news we broke out today. So we'll talk about the Jets later. And who else? The Browns, 9.5 was. This is why I took that number so early. I saw 9.5. I'll take that. I'll take that. And that's the Chargers. Yeah, I took the Chargers. Like I said, I didn't say it out loud, but I took it kind of under the table. They won and cover against the Broncos. They were up 23 zip, and they let the Broncos score 13 points on them, though. That's kind of a red flag, even though it was garbage time. But anyway, new week. Let's get right into it, though. We got Thursday night football. Denver Broncos traveling to New Orleans. The New Orleans taking on the Saints. Saints plus 1.5 point underdogs. Give me the Broncos to win and cover. This is simply because of schemes and situations. Sean Payton knows Dennis Allen. Sean Payton pretty much knows damn near about 85% of his team. He knows that whole defense other than Tyrann Mathieu. We can argue that. I think he knows what Dennis Allen likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, what he can do. And I think at this point, I mean, I mentioned how the Broncos scored 13 unanswered points last week in the end of the game. I think that was kind of a confidence booster for Bo Nix. And I know it was New Orleans, and I know it's been known as the hostile environment. And listen, Spencer Rattler did play a good game, but I think this is when Sean Payton just knows who he's dealing with. And I don't see why they should win at least by 3 points, right? It's 1.5. They should at least win by 3, right? Next game, we got the London game. New England, traveling to England, right? New England Patriots taking on the Jacksonville Duval Jaguars. Jaguars are -5.5 point favorites. Give me Patriots to cover, Jags to win. I think 5.5 is too much. I don't for this team. I think 5.5 is entirely too much. Now I will say Drake May didn't look bad, and I know people would say, well, he had garbage time touchdowns, but I always feel like for a rookie quarterback, you kind of need that sometimes to have a little bit of a confidence boost. He was able to make some plays, but yet we know the biggest flaw with this team is the offensive line. And I keep talking about Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. I think those are two people you don't want to face when you don't have offensive line, and that does worry me in the back end with this game. I think this game opened up 4.5 Jags, and it went up a whole point. Uh, if it goes to like 3, I doubt it, but if it goes to like 3, then I might consider taking Jacksonville on this one. Next game, you got the Tennessee Titans at the Buffalo Bills. Bills 8.5 point favorites. Another situation. Bills to win, Titans to cover. I mean, do you really want to bet Will Levis? I keep telling y'all why to avoid that, man. That's up to y'all at that point, bro. The Titans defense, I will say, is kind of good. I'm not gonna even they're at least a top 15 unit. So they actually are not bad, but that offense, bro, Calvin really, and that's crazy because I was Calvin really didn't get one catch. That's kind of nuts, bro. Calvin really had 8 targets, didn't get one catch. We still know D Hop can do a little something, something, but I mean, bro, it's just really up to Will Levis at this point, bro. And I've already told you how I feel about Willie at this point. Next game, we got the Houston Texans traveling to Green Bay, taking on the Packers. Packers -2.5 point favorites. Give me the Packers to win and cover. Not saying this is my team. Listen, this offense has been clicking. I mean, now that Jordan Love is getting healthier week in and week out, You can argue outside of the Jets, and we'll talk about that later, but you can argue that might be the deepest receiver core. And they are a young receiver core, so they're all within 1 to 3 years of experience. So it's not like they're like elite receivers, but they got a receiver by committee room that can contribute. We know about Josh Jacobs. We know what he's going to do. But that defense has set a standard for this team that I haven't seen defense like this maybe since what BJ Raji and Clay Matthews era. Like that's probably the last Charles Woodson era. That's probably the last time I seen them when they won the Super Bowl. That's probably the last time I seen this defense this good. Houston, this team, they beat the Patriots, but it didn't look that good to me, you know. And the Texans is one of those teams, man. I think Nico Collins didn't play. I don't know if he's not playing this week. If he's not playing this week, I think it's even more better chances for the Packers to win. But yeah, not too much science, bro. This is a game where I won't even be touching, but I think I'll enjoy it. Next game, you got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. Falcons are no, correction, -2.5 point favorites. I got Seattle to win and cover. This is a team that I think is, I mean, yeah, obviously I have my futures on Seattle too, but I see Seattle as a team that can obviously match up with the Falcons pretty good. You know, the Falcons, yeah, they scored up on Carolina, but yeah, Carolina dropped points on their head. I could see Seattle with a little bit more discipline on the defense. Now we need this team to be healthy on the defensive side. We need Murphy playing. We need those two guys on that D line playing. Because I think they can cause ruckus for Atlanta if that does happen. And you look at the Atlanta defensive side, there's no pass rush. You know, I mean, you got Judon there, but I feel like he hasn't done anything since he's been there, honestly. So, you know, I expect a high scoring game. So I do expect the over in this game just because I know Seattle's going to score points, Atlanta's going to score points, but I'm still going with Seattle to win the cover, slight underdog upset. Next game, we got the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Colts, Indianapolis, Colts -3. Colts to win the cover if it's Joe Flacco. But I don't obviously we don't know what's going on with Jonathan Taylor. And that's like the bad thing about the running back market, respectfully. You pay guys like him who I'm not saying he didn't deserve his money, but now when it's time to play, he's nowhere to be around. He already missed 2 games. I don't know if he's going to miss a third one. Do you trust AR or do you trust Flacco? And I think that's really the situation. I think it opened up at 4. I think at one point it was at 4.5, 5, Sunday night. Now it dropped to 3. And I'm assuming that means AR might be playing. So that's kind of this game doesn't really mean nothing to me right now. Next game, you got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. Giants plus 3 point underdogs. I got the Eagles to win and cover. They look good against the Browns, even though the Browns cover that large number. But they look good, bro. They got their starters back. They got their receivers back. Saquon looked it good. Jalen Hurts is a little iffy, but Saquon was looking amazing. So if they run the ball through Saquon, bro, I think the pass game is going to get opened up easily, bro. And Danny Dimes, listen, I got to give him some credit. He's been trying to win, but this is when you meet elite neighbors. They were missing neighbors last week. They had neighbors. I think they would have beat Cincinnati, in my opinion. But I'm going with the Eagles in this one, bro. This secondary for the Giants, I don't think is going to be able to handle this type of team. Next game, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. Browns 5.5 point underdogs. Give me the Browns to cover the 5.5. Bengals to win. How confident am I on the Bengals to win? Not really. I don't really know. This offensive line is still I mean, bro, it's the same problem with that team year in, year out. The Browns, listen, they're not. Everyone keeps saying it's Deshaun Watson fault. It's not. Watch that whole Philly game and you come back to me and tell me what you think. Offensive line couldn't maintain blocks a lot of times, a lot of false starts. There were times where it was 4th and goal. And I remember this. I was screaming in my lungs, kick the field goal because I wanted them to cover because they were down by 7. I ain't want nothing crazy to happen. and they were a 4th and goal on the 5 yard line. It's a false start on the offensive lineman. Well, now you got to get the ball. Now you got to get the ball right. So you know what I'm saying. A lot of it was, it's not all Deshaun Watson fault. Deshaun Watson had some pretty good plays to make them. I mean, I think before they even scored a field goal, they started at the own. I want to say almost at the 20 yard line. So they pushed the ball all the way down the field till they got there and all that happened. But this Bengals team, I just can't trust. I mean, Joe Burrow can't do it all, bro. And that's what I feel like they're trying to do. He can't do it all. Next game, we got the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are, I'm looking at this right, 2.5 point favorites. I gotta do this. I'm going with the Vikings to win. Yeah, I'm going with the Vikings to win. And I want to say Lions to win the cover, but after Aiden Hutchinson injury, we'll probably talk about this on Upset Alert video. I'll drop that tomorrow. But it's the fact that you lost him. I don't see a pass rush for this team now. It's cool to blow out Dallas. I agree, but Dallas don't have a defense like Minnesota does, and that's just a clear point difference. Brian Flores is going to be coming at Jared Goff, and we do know Jared Goff's weakness is when you blitz him and you bull rush him. He sometimes throws dumb passes, and that's just how that happens when you're under pressure. They have to keep relying to that run game. The Lions and the Vikings, I mean, they took a whole week off, they chilled, but definitely them not having to face against Hutch. I do think that's a big, big relief for them. So it's just really the pass rush for the Lions, bro, because we know that secondary is it's a little suspect, bro. And I mean, it's easy to cover that up when the Lions blew out the Cowboys the way they did. But the Vikings are a lot more better, in my opinion. The Vikings are a better team than the Cowboys. Next game, we got the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to LA to take on the Rams. Rams 6.5 point favorites. Mm, I really want to say Raiders to cover, Rams to win, only because they're back in LA and it's going to feel like a Raider game. So you think, I say, if anything, check into the first half spread. I think the first half spread for the Raiders may be better because they're going to feel like they're back home in LA. Like I said, there's no real home advantage with the Rams and Charger teams. But when the Raiders come to LA, it's going to feel like a Raider game. And that's just really my thoughts about it. The Rams, I don't really know what they want to do, bro. I have no idea what this game is going to turn out to be. We know about the news with Devontae Adams getting traded off. Aiden O'Connell is the quarterback. I think the best idea is look at Brock Bowers. Look at his yards. I think because those type of quarterbacks sort of tight ends so quickly, I think that would be a good bet. Next game, we got the Carolina Panthers. Keep pounding versus the Washington. We call them the Redskins. I'm calling them the Redskins. Versus Washington. I'm gonna say that. Versus Washington. Washington 7.5 point favorites. Yeah, so yesterday this was 8.5. And I would have said Panthers to cover, Washington to win. I still would say the same thing with the 7.5. I don't like the hook. That's just really what it. I don't like the hook. If it goes to 6.5, maybe 7, I'll think about it. But I will say this. I think the best play may be the over. Because Carolina has been scoring. Like Andy Dalton, the Ginger has been balling. We will say that, bro. They're at least scoring 20, 28 points a game now. Compared to Bryce Young, I will say that. And we know Washington's secondary isn't the greatest, but we know Jane Daniels will score points on you too. Because Carolina defense isn't the best now. That Derek Brown isn't playing. I see it being points galore on both sides. So if you ask me, I think the best play to take is the over. Next game, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers -1 point favorites. Yes, you heard it right. The Niners are a 1 point favorite. I don't care about that. Give me the Chiefs. Give me that. Come on, bro. What did I tell you guys? When you see KC underdog odds, take Kansas City. Even if they happen to take it, that is the best value you're getting with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. Come on now. The 49ers, I mean, yeah, Mason is doing good as a running back. I think he leads the league in rushing yards, I was told. But that's what happens when you in that Shanahan system. I keep expressing this. I mean, the Alfred Morrises in the world, the Ruben Drones in the world. People I know who I'm talking about if you know old school ball. It don't matter because of that blocking scheme. It's that same zone run blocking scheme. So anybody can fit in. But the best player on the field, arguably Christian McCaffrey, is not playing. And that's how I look at this game. This Chiefs defense, Mahomes has back-to-back years with the defense being at least top five defense. Yeah, this team has a defense, bro. I mean, you could argue they might be number one in some books, but I don't see how this offensive line for the 49ers, other than maybe Trent Williams, does something. Chris Jones is going to wreck that interior. We know he's an automatic game changer. We can now say he's the best defensive tackle in the game now that Aaron Donald is gone. I mean, and let's talk about this 49ers defense. I don't think they're good. Other than Nick Bosa, Ed Warner's okay, but I don't think anybody's sitting there and I'm intimidated about their defense. That's just my personal opinion. And Kyle Shanahan, bro, I say he don't win big games, and this is a big regular season game. And yet, Kansas City, it may not mean nothing, but I think they have a mission to three-peat and to stay undefeated right now. And I see it happening, bro. I think the only reason why they are a favorite, the 49ers, because they're playing at Santa Clara, right? I'm assuming that's the only reason why they will be a 1 point favorite. Because if this was at Kansas City, we're probably talking Kansas City -1, right? So this is a Sunday night football game. So I will have you some caution because it is a prime time game. But you giving me Chiefs on the money line. Give me Chiefs money line. Give me Chiefs my +1. I've already made that a best bet for me. Make it a goddamn best bet because I don't this number to me is beauty to me having Kansas City. I know people would say the injuries and look what you have Andy Reid, you have two head coaches on your coaching staff as the OC and DC, and you got arguably the best quarterback in the game right now with Patrick Mahomes. You think they can't find ways easily to beat this team, spread this offense, spread this 49ers defense out. They've done it against them numerous times, bro. Brock Purdy is going to get pressure because now they're starting to throw the ball too much to Brock Purdy, and I think that's kind of a recipe for disaster. As much as I kind of have been talking about Brock Purdy, he's great when he has a great running game behind him and he has to do too much. So I just think Kansas City finds a way to win this game. Will it be ugly? Probably so. But guess what? It's football, homie. Now, let's talk about this one real quick. The Jets and Steelers. Now, this game, you got Jets traveling to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh now is +1 Devontae Adams has been traded from the Raiders to the Jets. So yes, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is back reunited, and it shipped this line to the Jets being a favorite. I don't know about that. I'm going with the Steelers to win the cover though. This forget about the skill position players. Did you watch the game last night? Aaron Rodgers was getting like laid. Like, bro, this offensive line is they're suspect, bro. They're not really if they can't deal with Buffalo defense, imagine TJ Watt coming on a corner. I mean, that's just how I want you guys to look at it, bro. This offensive line is just not good. Now the defense is great. We can say that the defense gave the Jets so many opportunities to win that game, bro. I can't be mad at the defense at this point. Mike Williams back-to-back games blowing routes. I mean, I don't really get it. But I will say this: Aaron Rodgers is more confident throwing a rock than I ever seen him as a Jet uniform. So I think they kind of continue some of that momentum. They mix some of that run game up, but you got to remix the run game up against the Pittsburgh. I think the only way they beat Pittsburgh is they run the ball. And you keep TJ Watt on his feet a little bit. Because I've been told you can run at TJ Watt, you can run at JJ Watt, you can run at him. But when it comes to playing pass rush situations, you kind of almost like. kind of almost setting yourself a failure at that one. So I need a lot of play action fakes, a lot of design runs for the Jets to win this game. It will be a dogfight. And for Justin Fields, this should be motivation after Aaron Rodgers embarrassed you when you were a Bear and he was a Packer, right? Saying he owned his team when you were the quarterback for that team. So honestly, Steelers have a better overall team, coach, everything, but it will be a good game regardless. We got two Monday night football games, and I kind of feel like they somewhat heard me out a little bit, but the times are still bad, but they heard me out a little bit. First one though, Baltimore Ravens at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are plus 3.5 underdogs. I got the Ravens to win the cover. It was 4.5. So now at 3.5, if it goes to three or 2.5, if it goes to 2.5, I'm definitely taking Baltimore. Uh, this Buccaneers team, bro, we know this team can get ran on, bro. But we know New Orleans, bro, is that just wasn't a good matchup. But Baker Mayfield, though, I will say this: I think the over would hit because Baker Mayfield's been slinging that goddamn ball, though. Baker Mayfield is definitely QB1 for the Bucks for probably the next 5, 6 years at this point. Played pretty good ball. And like I said, I think I like the over because we know about the Ravens. They're going to score, but y'all saw how the Commanders woke up and start throwing the ball and they were able to move. Ah, this defense is bad. This is probably the worst defense I ever seen Baltimore have. And I still think they're a good team, but this is like the worst one I've seen. But initial thought though, Ravens to win the cover. And lastly, I do have a bet on this one. You can make this one the best bet for me. We got the LA Chargers going to Zona and take on the Cardinals. Chargers minus 2.5 point favorites. Give me the Chargers to win and cover. I don't see how this Cardinals team wins. I don't. Um, it's Call of Duty time. Remember I told y'all that last week, right? So expect some of the bullshit to happen with the Cardinals. They just can't score against a team that has good defense. The Chargers, look, Harbaugh brought in physicality off rip, and he that game against the Broncos showed it. Derwin James is back balling. Khalil Mack, I think we'll have Joey Bosa coming back this game too. So, this Cardinals offensive line is going to definitely be tested. And I should see a lot of Murray. If anything, Murray will make some plays running with his feet. I don't know so much about passing because I think that pass rush for the Chargers will get after him. But this concludes week 7. Um, like, subscribe, pass the word around. You already know what it is. Tune in for tomorrow because I will be making upset alert video tomorrow. So I'll be making it tomorrow and then I'll be posting it. So as always, guys, let's be safe out here and let's get this bread, man.